So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. We can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just noticing my stinger is screwed up and it doesn't have the disclaimer at the start. I'm going to fix that. All right, charts. Today we are starting at the 50-day moving average. I do not believe that this is a predictive indication of where things are going to go, but it is something that matters to certain strategies and that we need to factor into our read of the markets. We've had a pretty good bearish week or so. Yesterday I thought was really ugly. Coming here to the E-mini, man, I mean, it just later in the day it just got creamed. And a lot of people are going to be screwed up by this because what's happening is they're buying in the morning and they're selling off in the evening. And this is very different from anything that we have seen in the past, like, year, if not more than that, right? Selling into the close. A little weird. You're also seeing some S&P strength. Okay. Now, the treasuries yesterday, there was an auction. And so treasuries were pushing down early, but after the auction came through at 11, you can kind of see maybe if you really zoom in there, you can kind of see the tail, right? And then ever after that, they were just hardcore bid all day. So, and this was happening as the E-mini was going down. So we actually saw treasuries become a flight to safety. Isn't that weird, right? Oh my, a little slip right there in the E-mini. By the way, liquidity in the micros looks awful right now. Okay, now oil continues to do poorly, but there has been some increase because of concerns about supply over the Suez Canal being blocked. And the last information that I heard on this tanker that's stuck there is that it could be weeks. So it sounds like this is not look good. All right. Then even more interesting overnight is gold and silver. I mean, I guess they did okay yesterday, but silver in particular just getting absolutely crushed, as is copper. So the metal complex is acting up. Now, when we come over here and we look at the dollar, what do we see in the dollar? Well, the dollar is higher, but only a little bit. Okay, so I don't know if that completely explains why it's behaving the way that it is, but man. And lastly, we just come back over here. This the market liquidity in both the micros and the E-mini is really low, and you can see it slipping around. I'm getting these, spots all over the place. I guess we do have the news is coming out here. That might be part of why we're getting out. So here we're going to get continuing jobless claims, expecting 4,043,000. And 730 for the initial jobless claims with the previous reading of 770K. I haven't gotten the number. Oh, and the GDP growth rate. It's waiting for it to hit Twitter. The market's not immediately reacting to it. Okay. GDP 4.3 versus 4.1 expected. Okay. Jobless claims 684,000 versus the forecast 430. So that is not a bad beat. Liquidity is still pretty low. Liquidity in the treasury is pretty low too. U.S. core PCE prices final actual 1.3, forecast 1.4. I guess that's good. By the way, good morning, Bill and Uzi. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we did have news and everything, but I would still say that the liquidity is a little unusual, even for Thursday news. I guess GDP maybe justify it, but I don't know. I don't know. The market not really reacting to it too strongly though, huh? Well, man, how come my stinger doesn't have the thing? I feel like I want to go and fix that like right now. Maybe I should resist. Futures trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, folks. Make sure that we put that one at the very beginning again. I changed it like late last week. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the market initially moved down a little bit, but seems to be recovering. I don't know. I don't think that any of these numbers or anything reflect why the market is concerned. So what's going on? Well, here's the one thing that I will tell you. Yesterday, when we were moving down, I saw people buying the dip, right? And I actually saw a lot of volume going through. It seems to me that the bullish sentiment from the retail segment is still there. It seems like it is still there. So what is going on? Well, one concern that I see out there that we maybe discounted a little bit too much is that Joe Biden is proposing tax increases. And Joe Manchin has said that he would support tax increases on corporations. So there's some hint that some bill will happen somehow. I still think that bill passing is like, it's going to be really hard for them to do. But if they start taxing corporations higher, that's going to have an effect. And it kind of makes you wonder if the stock market's going up because of all of this money that we're putting out there, but then we take all of the money out by doing taxes, then where does it really get you? Okay, well, I have a little bit of food, so I'm just going to take a few bites here while it's still quiet. This is interesting. Do we have other news later today? Fed's Claridia speaking at 8:10. Kansas Fed Manufacturing Index. 7-year note auction. That's a big deal. Okay, well, we'll see what the market does. I'm kind of suspect that on the open, they'll buy it up again. But let's see here. The moving average is going to be at 38.69. So we're like right at it. Oh, and that's interesting because it's kind of acting as resistance at the moment. Guys, I don't know. Well, liquidity in the standard contract, I think, has recovered okay. I think we're okay now. Okay. So now that we're all done eating here and being stupid, I feel bad because I feel like I wasn't really well prepared today, but because I didn't realize that we were doing the GDP number today. But the thing that is in my mind at the moment is, why is silver getting creamed so hard? Why is silver getting creamed so hard? Let's go back to my News Squawk results and read here. The open rundown and see if there's something I missed. Asia. Slump in tech names. U.S. tech rout. Delisting fears after the SEC adopted measures which could boot foreign companies off U.S. exchanges if they do not comply with auditing standards. Good deal. North Korea fired 2 missiles. Ballistic missiles. $13 million barrels of oil blocked by the Suez Canal logjam. Gold and silver both softer on the session, which could be in large part down to the stronger dollar. However, it's worth noting overnight spot silver slipped in a 2-week low, but gold inched higher due to rising cases across Europe, prompting some safe haven flows, but gains were capped due to the dollar hitting a fresh 4-month high. Spot gold remains just above 1730. Copper follows the softer sentiment in resides. It's a really weird, right? Apparently, the Ever Given tracked a giant penis shape in the Red Sea before getting stuck. That's funny. Well, my understanding is that it was a windstorm that pushed it. Yeah. But they're saying that it could be weeks before they get it out and that they may have to try and make it lighter. Oh, cool. Gabby took a trade. Good deal. You say it's bearish if 75s don't come back? Well, they're pretty lackadaisical here at the low. You know what? There's another important macro that I didn't point out. Bitcoin is just getting trashed, right? So they tried the 60 at one point. They'd kind of been going sideways for several days. There was a number of points at which it looked like the pump was on. And now today they're heading towards 5,000. 5,000 may act as a support point. I mean, Bitcoin seems to react to levels. It seems to react to levels until it like crashes, and then it's all of a sudden it's like they lose everything all at once, right? 50K seems like a good target there. The 4,500 or so is still, I believe, like a key juncture that if they were to fail could result in more selling in Bitcoin as a result. By the way, I was seeing a chart, and like apparently ever since Tesla announced that it owned a lot of Bitcoin, there was like that initial boost, and like ever since then it's been down. Interesting, huh? Funny how the Musk tweet about buying Tesla with Bitcoin leads to a sell. Oh, well, yesterday, yeah, it did. Yes, yesterday, I don't know if that's what led to the selling, but you're right. He tweeted in the morning, and they sold it yesterday pretty hard. No, well, so what I think they're talking about is like, so they announced a while ago that they had bought $1 billion of Bitcoin and that they wanted to make it so that you could buy a Tesla car with Bitcoin. But yesterday, Elon Musk announced that it's live, like that you can actually do it now. And he made sure to point out that if you buy a Tesla car with Bitcoin, that they would keep it in Bitcoin, right? This is the really big issue. This is the thing that is like I'm starting to conclude is a big red flag anytime you see this. You notice in GameStop, what is the thing that you always get? What do they always say? Don't sell, right? They always say you've got to hold. You've got to hold, don't sell no matter what. It's all of us holding that makes the price go through and yada yada yada. And I'm thinking that if the best argument that people can make about why something is going to go up is because we're all going to hold it, that is a big red flag. Because you know what? They never do. They never hold it. They can't because they all start losing money. And yeah, I don't know, man. Does he accept Garlic Coin? I wish. I mean, Garlic Coin did well. Let's go back and look at that. Coin market cap. Where's our watch list? So Garlic Coin is at 1.2 cents. So anything over a cent in Garlic Coin is great. Dogecoin is still at 5 cents. I really think that their Garlic Coin will get a higher price. Of course, the market cap won't be even freaking close. Oh, and the Garlic Coin market cap went below $1 million on. That's unfortunate. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh man, like Garlic Coin, if it goes. I mean, man, if this thing goes, and I really think that it has the potential to do it, because when it hit 1 cent and you went on that Discord server, man, there was a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. Like, it was kind of crazy. I'm concerned that maybe Garlic Coin has some big sellers, you know? But man, if it ever takes off, it could just take off. Like, it could just all of a sudden one day be $1. Like overnight, it could just all of a sudden be $1, you know? But then I look at the cryptocurrency market and Bitcoin, and I'm like, yeah, this is overbought. It is going to crash. And when it does, Garlic Coin's going to be worth a fraction of a cent again. When you look at it on that time frame, it sure doesn't look good on Bitcoin, does it? Crabs in a barrel, maybe. Yeah, it's that. HODL is not a good investment thesis. Why aren't you putting the NQ on your meat? There's not enough room, man. There's just not enough room. I can put it right there, but then the issue is that it moves so fast, it is like distracting. If Jigsaw allowed me to aggregate prices, I really hope they do that at some point, then maybe I could put it in. My bot's trade mini NQ, only way to do it. So the video I want to do this weekend Oh my gosh, I got like bit by a mosquito or something. I think it was a mosquito, and like my arm is like really reacting to it. It really itches. You can see it. Oh my gosh, you can see it right there. It's like really red. I'm pretty sure that was just a mosquito bite. Can you believe that? Anyways, so the video that I'm hoping to do this weekend, and I'm watching the baby, so we have to do it while the baby's asleep. So that's going to be tough work, but I think we can handle it, because I want to talk about the pitfalls, mistakes that you run into when you're doing back testing and running robots, right? And the thing that I have found is just so common is that because it's so difficult to come across a real technical edge over long time periods, you are more likely to run into tricks that will fool the backtester than you are to find a real true strategy. You know what I mean? And one of the things that I think will screw you up is trading the NQ. Because I have this J. So J takes really small trades, right? You can see it right here. I have 2 of them, so that's why you see so many entries on it. But Jay takes pretty small moves, right? And he's holding a long stop, so it's basically like a risk arbitrage strategy. Oh, actually, no, they take equal risk reward right now. Okay. Anyways, it takes a lot of trades, right? And so the issue with backtesting this is that the profit target that it is taking is smaller than your average 1 minute bar. And so the backtester will say that it made money or that it got filled when it really wouldn't have, because the resolution isn't high enough. So then you go and you use high fill resolution and put like a 1 tick series underneath of it. That helps. That helps a lot, right? But the other issue that you have in a situation like that is that 1 tick can matter. 1 tick can make a huge difference to a strategy like that. And it is often the case that by the time 1 millisecond has gone by to calculate, the strategy and put the order in, that it does not get filled at the price that the backtester says that it's going to. And so then when you run it live, it just doesn't get the same prices that the sim does, no matter what. And because NQ is so wild, you're really likely to run into that. And so I'm concerned that there's a lot of people out there with robots running on the NQ that aren't really going to make money, or at least they're not going to perform the way that they think they will, right? All fair points, yeah. And because it's even a problem in the E-mini, right? If you wanted one that, you were really not guaranteed, but a high probability that it was going to perform the same way in live as it did in the back test, it would be the 10-year treasury, right? Because there's so much liquidity there. But anyways, it's kind of fun to run them live though, and run them against each other. So I've been running J and J2 pretty clear, although at the moment J is doing better, but most days J2 does better. And the back testing shows that J2 is better. So I think I'm close to the point where I can just move to the J2 one and focus back on the level 2 stuff again. But it is a slow process. So many people think that it's just like, you just code up this strategy and it will trade it like that exactly correctly every time and you'll always make money. And I mean, there are so many people online that treat it like that claim like that. They make these, oh man, it's all over on TikTok. You know what? I bet you the SEC is having a field day. Big brain move if J1 is performing bad, just do the opposite trade. Well, if only. If only. The J1 is probably a really good example of where trading the opposite of an unprofitable strategy isn't necessarily profitable. So in this case, I have a significant I would say that I have a significant amount of evidence to suggest that J1 has a true predictive edge. And I mean a true predictive edge. It's such a good edge that there is too much competition for it. And so I don't necessarily have a whole lot of hopes for J. That's why we kind of moved over to Gabby, because Gabby is almost like the opposite of J. Gabby's trading is taking a trade that nobody else wants to take. Whereas J is taking something that it seems like the market really reacts to on a short time frame and is just not fast enough. Like, I need a fast computer and a fast connection to make money with J. Because it looks to me like somebody is making money with it. Because the back test, it's perfect. And when I run it in sim, it's always one tick higher. And that screws it up. Powell and Draghi bond next. I always got hung on sending the correct prices relative to the current price. Well, you can always send in limit orders, but mine just tries to mark it in. It doesn't get the price that it wants. Actually, I take that back. Maybe it uses limit orders right now. Could go back and try and change that. But yeah. So that reminds me, I'm still working on the stock market Steve concept. I've been brainstorming ideas. I think making videos for this will be hard, but I think I've got the general idea of how I want to do it. Man, I see these people on TikTok so much. It'll be so easy to just do all of the things that these people do and say the things that people want to hear. You'll just like pull up a chart, be like, look at this. This is easy. You can't lose with this one, right? The only question I have at this point with Stock Market Steve is, should Steve have an accent? Because you know those stock market gurus, they always have like some sort of a New York accent or something, you know? Maybe that Italian New Yorker accent. Or maybe Brooklyn. Like should he have a New York, a style of New York accent? Well, there's many. Yeah, Uzi says yes, but what kind of New York accent? I don't want to offend anybody with it. You know, I don't want people to be like, this is discriminatory towards New Yorkers. It was MT4 when I was doing it, and the broker was always sending back a limit price invalid against the current price with the limit order. I think I was being too... Well, that's weird, because if your limit price is invalid, it should just convert into a market order, right? You should talk like your old Chinese voice bot. No, you can still do the Chinese voice. It's still there. You type exclamation point info and it tells you what commands to use. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that doing the Chinese accent would be too hard. That is weird that it would just reject an Aether Eater. Because, well, maybe if it was like 4x or something. You say MT4, so I'm thinking maybe 4x.
Kevin Wimmer says, wow, why is no one using this anymore? Thought it was removed.
It's so good, right? It's so good at that stuff. Yeah, maybe if it was Forex and it wasn't the current best bid, best ask, then maybe it would reject you. Because they don't give you an actual limit order book. You can only just put in orders at the current price. And you got to remember MT4 is a trash platform used by trash Forex bucket shops, yeah. And they have that whole setup to be like, buy my algorithm.
China number one.
Buy my algorithm is built right into it, right? You know what? That would be funny, but one, I don't think that anybody would associate a Chinese voice with a stock market guru. And it would be really hard for me to pull off a Chinese accent like that. Well, I think I could probably with some practice do in New York, but there's different New York accents, right? Let's see here. New York accents. New York City English. There is a whole Wikipedia article for it. That's cool. New York City English is a regional dialect of American English spoken by many people in New York and is much of its surrounding metropolitan area. Described by sociolinguist William Labroff as the most recognizable dialect in North America. The dialect is known through its association in media with many public figures and fictional characters. Its features are most densely concentrated in New York City proper with its immediate suburbs, but they also extend somewhat to the wider metropolitan area. The New York City accent, which comprises a number of both conservative and innovative features. Major features of the accent include a high gliding ah vowel in words like talk and caught, and a spit of the short a vowel into two separate sounds. Variable dropping of R sounds, and a lack of the cot in cot. MT4 is just a more lucrative tool for the broker side than it is for the client side. Yep. It's free to get your feet wet, but man, is it a pain to make error free. I gotta tell you, if there is any platform like the thing that's so fun, is it fun? Fun for me as a person on YouTube is that when it comes to software and services and stuff, there's no one right answer. Like every one of those pieces of software has one thing that they do pretty well. Well, there's a couple of platforms that are new and are a little lacking, maybe. Like Watchtower, or what is it? Quant Tower is one that is just really new. Okay, I don't think that there's any one feature in there that's like truly unique, but because it's new, you get a good price, right? So like everyone has something going for it. Except for MT4. Like if you're using MT4, just stop right now. So that's one of the ones that I want to do with Steve. So what does your trading platform say about you? MT4? Man, you just started trading yesterday. That's what MT4 says. Right? And if your favorite platform is Robinhood, then tell your wife that I'm going to be coming over on Friday. That's what that one means. MT4 is from the 90s, yeah. It needs to be deprecated. That kind of reminds me of there's a number of gurus. I thought it was just this one guy, but I've actually run across this more than once now, where these guys, they have indicators written in NinjaTrader 7. And, a couple of years ago, it was like you use NinjaTrader 7 because NinjaTrader 8 wasn't considered reliable. I would still say that NinjaTrader 8 has some it'll crash on me from time to time. We'll say that. Okay. I wouldn't say that has reliability issues because usually it's my fault, but I can get NinjaTrader to crash from time to time. Right. But at this point, like the features in it's so much easier to do stuff in NinjaTrader 8 that like there's no reason for you to not move over to it. More people use NinjaTrader 8 than use NinjaTrader 7. So if you were selling your software, it would behoove you would make more money by converting your indicators over to NinjaTrader 8, and your indicators will be cleaner and easier to write under NinjaTrader 8. But there are a couple of these gurus out there that I don't know. Maybe they really were never good programmers, or maybe somebody else did it for them. They still have their NinjaTrader 7 stuff. Either Ader says I'm using Tastyworks nowadays. I need to try Tastyworks, man. But their ecosystem is kind of closed off. Last time I checked, I couldn't just open a demo account and try it.
Vlad Stolarov says the sea cannot claim us, Henrik.
Oh.
No ship is as seaworthy as ours.
Kevin Wheeler says Sierra chart number 1.
I think that one that Vlad, you copy and pasted the exclamation point. Learning about Boston's technology virtual dealer plugin pretty much nailed in the coffin. Oh man. But there are different New York dialects, right? There's like if you're from Jersey or from Brooklyn or from the Bronx, they're different, right? That's what I was always thought, because there's definitely some New York accents that kind of almost sound like an Italian mobster, you know? Notable speakers. How does a New Yorker talk? Do retail traders even trade options on futures? Who does? Well, I'm sure that there are, but I don't think that we would commonly come across them when we're scalping. So I don't know who does it. The thing with options on futures is that it is just a very difficult game to get into, right? So most of the people that you're going to be seeing doing that sort of a thing are probably like CTA level guys. There we go. Accents and dialects of New York. And they have like 36 different examples. New York. In my head I could do it, but now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, when have I got it? Oh my gosh, I'm listening to an example, but there's this beginning part that's not. That one's not very stylized, so that's not very good. Maybe we can find, I bet you there's a YouTube video with like different New York accents. The accents of the 5 boroughs of New York City. 11 years ago. Composed and voiced by Vigwig. We're gonna listen to this. All right. Hold up. Let me mute Financial Juice for a second.
Bronx, you know what I mean? The Bronx is dark, it's in the back of your throat. And you drop in your final R's and you have heavy initial emphasis on your consonants because the Bronx is a very tough borough. And, so you go, oh, hey, and then you punch your initial consonants. You got it? Because it's tough there, you know? All right. Brooklyn is more sing-song, and you have more up and down in your cadences. And the most important thing about Brooklyn is you need to masticate your vowels. Masticate, you chew on your vowels, you enjoy your vowels, and then you're more laid back than the Bronx. It's been, Brooklyn is a friendly community, and it's sort of like that. It's a nice place to live. Queens is more nasal. The thing with Queens is you live there, so press into your nose because there's a pain living in Queens because it's so boring. So you're there and you're living there and you're putting up with living there, and you tell your friends, I'm from Queens, I live here, and it's not fun. So that's what happens when you live.
I never went to Queens when I was in New York.
Into your nose, depending on what part of Queens you live in. Staten Island is an amalgam of all the other boroughs put together. It's the most obnoxious of all the accents because it's the one closest to Jersey. Manhattan's really quick, you know what I mean? I don't really have a lot of time to get back to you. We're really rushed here. I have a lot of things to do, and I don't have any time at all. So the people talk really quickly, and they're a little nervous, and they're all kind of stressed out, like they've had 5,000 cups of coffee. So I'll have to get back to you next week, and we'll get it together. Okay, I gotta go. Bye. Thank you.
Oh, that was great. That was great, right? It was like, my family is from New York. I was born there. When I was younger, my yelling accent would slip into New York, but I've been in Florida for so long now, I just go Southern ghetto when I get mad. That's funny. Well, I'm thinking if we're trying to make a scumbag character, that tough guy, that doing the Bronx accent would probably be the best, right? So I will start practicing. I don't have all of the stuff to do the Steve yet, so I'm gonna start practicing my Steve today. I'm gonna go and find the resources that I need to talk in the Steve in the Bronx accent. It is decided. Steve is from the Bronx. Anyone opposed? Talk. I don't know. Like, I know I can do it. Like, the thing is if I just have the key to an accent, I think, is you gotta have the example person in your head. Like, it's usually somebody from Hollywood or somebody, right? And you just think about all the things that they said, and then you just start doing it and changing it a little bit until you've got it exactly the way that they do it. But at the moment, my mind is just not. It's like a different world because it's so much language and stuff, and I'm thinking about what I want to say and what the market is doing right now. But I think I'm gonna have fun with it because I haven't made very many TikToks because I've just been thinking about this. Because like I wanted to do more funny content with TikToks, but then I'm like, oh man, it would be so much better to do all this stuff as Steve. Take the dog for a walk. Well, so they were doing. Hold on. Take the dog for a walk. Take the dog for a walk. You have to emphasize the consonants. And it's in the back of your throat. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, man. I'm sure that at some point somebody's gonna get super pissed about it. But that'll probably just make it better. I do wish I could do a good Chinese accent like that.
Kevin Wimmer says Sierra chart number 1.
So do I have those? Like, I don't think that I have my accents all normal, like the names for them normalized. Hold on. Workspace. Nude. Debate. Is it this one right here? Nope. Maybe it's in lib. Yeah, there we go. So, why is everything N except for Germany? German M, German F. Save. This won't get applied until later. And then, German F. There we go. Try that. It won't get applied until I restart it. I don't want to restart it, so we'll do that tomorrow. Good morning, Ace. My mom still has it. She's from Queens. So did she talk like that lady that just did it? I don't think I met anybody from Queens when I was in New York. Looks like the dollar come back a little bit here, but the E-mini not really backing off, is it? A little her sister has it even thicker. That lady you were playing sounded almost identical to my aunt. Oh yeah. Well, I never realized like the nanny. That's the Queen's accent. Holy cow! Yeah. But I don't remember meeting anybody like that. Actually, most of the people that I met at Goldman Sachs didn't have a New York accent. But I do remember like a lot. It was a Jersey, right? Because they have two offices. They have like their main one on Manhattan, and then they have a really big building. It's like the biggest building on the Jersey Shore. So a lot of them lived in Jersey. And some of them talked a little bit like Jersey. Like, I'm super tempted to just like go short here, but I think we should hold off here a little bit, huh? Well, the treasuries have been going pretty well bid this morning too. They haven't moved since we've started, really. And I guess they did do a pretty good move right off of the open and off of the news, but since then they've been quiet. Life Monitor says Suez Canal's delays happen all the time. Do they really? This is the first time that I've ever heard about such a thing. That whole thing is so interesting, man. No more Trump, so we get actual news nowadays. Oh my God. So here's the thing that drives me absolutely crazy about news in the post-Trump era. By the way, there's a picture of the boat stuck on the edge of the canal. They don't have it real news, especially the politicos. Okay, so like the thing is there was a definite like strategy. You know what I mean? It would be like you put out a story, some guy would say something, like an anonymous source would push out a story, and there'd be this narrative over the story that we would usually find out later wasn't completely accurate, right? And then the media would just hyper focus and hyperventilate over that story for like a week or two, right? Well, they don't have that. So how are they going to drive people to vote for them? They don't have, because that was kind of how they played it, right? So instead, they put out pieces of legislation to get people excited about, right? So it's like, oh, we're going to make it so that the rich get taxed. Oh, and this would be so great for the country, and it would solve all of our problems, just taxing everybody more, except for that those evil, dastardly Republicans won't let us pass this law. And so it's like every day now you go on Reddit, there's this proposal on this law, and this is why we need to do this law. And then it's like, yeah, but it's not going to pass. Every freaking day now. A bunch of job owning over a bill that it stands zero chance of passing. And now here this week, it appears to me that the talk of increased taxes may be weighing on the markets, even though I think it's going to be really hard for them to pass a law. But we'll see what they're able to get. Maybe they can get enough people on board for some kind of an increase, but it might only be like a corporate tax increase or something like that, which I think is just an awful idea. Like, corporations don't pay taxes, guys. They just increase their prices on you. I don't. And business did so well. Like, this is the thing that that irks me the most about it. Is that a lot of the policies that we're seeing go in will do things that make everyday people think that it's beneficial to them, but then they take it out in another spot, and like the end result is a wash. So like everybody's like, oh, all of this fiscal stimulus is great for the economy and the stock market, and it's great. And it's like, yeah, but then you go and you take it all back out through taxes, and you didn't actually do anything. You just make it people think that the government is doing something. You went long there. I understand why. I'm not sure yet. I'm willing to go long quite yet. My favorite is the downvoted post where someone suggested a mandatory gun ownership in exchange for passing mail-in voting federally. Oh, man. I did see that. It's about timing the impacts for political gain on the other side. There's totally media strategy behind it, for sure. And I would say that in the most recent past, the Republicans have been terrible at this. So it's really the House and Senate leaders that do this, right? So you still got McConnell, and he's still pretty good at it, but a large portion of the party doesn't like him. And then you've got the House, and I feel that the House has kind of been. I think that the House has kind of been directionless lately. Like really ever since Boehner left. Everybody complained about Boehner, but the Republicans actually had like a strategy when Boehner was in charge. And then you had what's his bucket, who was just terrible, didn't accomplish any. Paul Ryan didn't do jack squat. And then who is it now? I can't even remember who the Republican leader is in the House now. Can't even remember his freaking name. Like, he doesn't do anything. And they're going to be, like, it looks like they're probably going to take the House next election. So, like, anyways, and that's like the whole thing is that Democrats know that they're only going to get 2 years for this. Oh, that's right. Kevin McCarthy. You're right, Samuel. Samuel. You're right, Kevin McCarthy. But they know that they got like 2 years, and so it's going to turn into whine about the filibuster for 2 years, and I'm already so sick of it. Like I want like real conversations again. You know what I mean? Like we could have a real conversation about how the effects of different tax policies on the economy. But instead, it's just, every tax increase that we want to put through would be good for the American people, but the filibuster is in the way. He goes to Mar-a-Lago. Kevin does, and who knows? Stephen Kessel, Brexit supporters believe EU membership had a sapping quality on Britain, impeding its decision-making. Now they say the country's vaccine rollout proves them right. Article on the New York Times. That's interesting. The different countries' response, and in particular Europe having a poor response with vaccines compared to other countries, is probably one of the most interesting topics of conversation in regards to the pandemic, and nobody's talking about it, right? Well, regular people aren't talking about it. It does seem like in the academia, the media, they are talking about it a little bit. Okay, we got about 4 minutes till game time here. Peter Schiff says that when Paul Krugman talks, nobody should listen. Oh man, what was Paul Krugman saying? That I have to say, like, Paul Krugman is not an idiot. Like, he does have arguments, and he does understand economics to some degree. The problem with Paul is that he is just selective on what he chooses to remember and not. And he has been wrong so often on things. With the ink barely dry on the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill, reports are circulating that Biden administration is about to unveil another $3 trillion spending proposal. The round of stimulus will reportedly target the Democrat Party agenda, including infrastructure spending, funding for aspects of the Green New Deal, and money to tackle wealth disparity. The spending plan will likely include tax increases. Of course, tax increases on the rich have been a Democrat mainstay for decades, but this plan may tax a little further down the income ladder than promised during the campaign. Peter said this shouldn't come as a surprise. And then they quote from the podcast, "That is why when they asked Willie Sutton, why do you rob banks? He said, well, that's where the money is. Well, if you want to raise a lot of tax revenue, you can't just target the top end earners. The money is lower down. It's the middle class or the upper middle class that has a lot of money that you're going to need to tap into if you're planning on funding $3 to $4 trillion worth of spending." He is correct. Peter said he thinks to the extent that the tax increases do target the wealthy, some Republicans will have a hard time voting against infrastructure spending that will supposedly benefit the masses of voters that is going to be paid for, quote unquote, by the rich. So do you lose the votes of 1% to solidify the votes of the 99%? I mean, politicians can do math, right? That's the only thing they can add up votes, and they know there are the votes at the 99%. Yeah, but if you pass a tax increase on middle-class Americans, I think it will come back to bite you. Peter said he ultimately thinks these bills will pass, even if there's a little to no Republican support. The mantra is that all of this spending will stimulate the economy, but Peter said it will only stimulate one thing, inflation. They're going to light a fire under consumer prices, which I have been discussing on this podcast, are going to go up in a manner that we have never experienced before. Yeah, of course, he is all in on like the hyperinflation, but he has been in on that since 2008 and has been wrong over and over and over and over again. But there is one person out there assuring us there is nothing to worry about. Paul Krugman, New York Times columnist and Keynesian economist, is out there taking another victory lap, reminding everybody that he was right when inflation didn't spike after the 2008 crisis. He's saying that people like Peter, who have been warning about the consequences of government borrowing, spending, and money printing, are just the same old doom and gloomers and fearmongers who were wrong before. Oh, what they're doing is so different from what they did in 2008, though, man. Okay. After all, according to Krugman, Democrats got us out of the economic hole George W. Bush dug us into with deficit spending and stimulus. Republicans and people like Peter, who were saying all the money printing was going to cause inflation, were just using it as a fear tactic. Of course, I didn't say that. All this money printing is inflation. It will lead to higher prices. It has and it will, just not nearly as much as it's going to. But because we have not seen substantial increases in a rigged CPI, Krugman is now saying, I told you so. Yeah, that is, now you're getting into the CPI is rigged. Okay, well, I got to focus now. The E-mini opens up. Initial move is down. We'll see how much volume is in on it. It looks like there's at least 500, 600 contracts there. It might be a little flippy here at the start. Okay, well, I didn't like that execution, but I'm going to stick with it because I don't want to add risk on at the moment. I don't want to get stuck in what I did yesterday. I don't care about CPI, but I know it costs $20 to eat at Subway with my wife when it used to cost $11. Yeah, there's definitely like some things that have gone up in price. I really want to extend that, but I'm looking at like 71 and I'm like, I think it's going to get there, but it's probably too far of a target to be looking at just at this exact moment. Yeah, it was a good tick right there. Houses and cars up, tube socks down. Governor calls that flat. Yeah. Well, the thing is like housing in particular is a good example. When these moratoriums on kicking people out and things like that go away, like real estate is going to go through some real crazy stuff, I think. You know? So I can't say that like housing prices are going to stay as crazy as they are right now forever. Like, it could be that they open things back up and then all of a sudden the real estate market is just awful for a year. That could happen, the way that I see it. But right now, like, housing prices are definitely going up, and none of the inflation numbers that we look at have shown that at all. If we don't see that in the next inflation report, then I think that people are really going to start asking questions. Because how could that not be showing up in the inflation report, the increase in the cost of housing? Okay, cool. So I got a fill there. You can see, though, it's pretty wishy-washy still. Like, they're going almost a full swing there at a time. And they were really reaching up there to fill us, too. It costs so much more to eat at Subway now, man. Because I remember the thing that was fun about Subway is that when I lived in New York, because the cost of living is so much higher in New York. But if you go and you eat at Subway, the price at Subway is the same as it was everywhere else in the country. So I just ate at Subway every day and saved a lot of money. The two of us eating at McDonald's costs $20. Yeah, I mean, I don't like eating out. It's expensive. Okay, so the buyers really came through there. And they made a pretty good push there in cumulative delta, but at the moment, the bears have taken over and are pushing new lows now. So it looks like some stop outs there. Guess not. It looks like they kind of fell into the hole. Yeah. It's a relative when there's only two people in the mix, yeah. Well, lately we've only been eating out for lunch, so. And then it's just me and the wife, and maybe the baby. No wonder China is fine trying to figure out what is in our sock drawer. Hey, that was a good trade, guys. I should have been a little bit quicker on the draw on that one and gotten a better price, but that was a good trade. It doesn't get much better than that one. And look at the buyers just come back with vengeance. They're going to break that, I think. So there's quite a bit absorbing there. Yeah. They want it. They want it bad. I should have let that one run, but it's okay. Now, the issue that we've got right now is that 69 moving, 50-day moving average at 38.69. So you can already see there is some liquidity trading there and getting out at the 69. So that's why I'm not, I'm weary about letting it run yet. Above that could turn into a really solid long bounce, right? Because people seeing that bounce off of the 50 would be like, oh, this is great. Okay, so they got dashed there pretty hard. But in that, the way that it's been happening is like the bullish market sentiment is still there. You see people buying it, like cumulative delta is long, and then some sell will come in and insist that we're going to bring it down 12 ticks. I'm just reading the last bit of this Peter Schiff story. The joke is going to be on the rest of the country because this time Krugman is going to be wrong for the wrong reasons instead of the right. Or maybe that's wrong for the right reasons. I'm not even sure. But he's dead wrong, and all of the money printing and all these deficits are going to result in a big increase in consumer prices, not just a one-off increase or a temporary increase, but this is the beginning of a major reset of the price structure in the United States, and it's going to continue for years and years, and it's going to continue to build and feed on itself, mainly because the Fed is going to be so far behind the curve by the time it even acknowledges it, if it ever does, that there's an inflation problem, because the initial higher reads will be dismissed as transitory. So how long is it going to take before the Fed admits that it's not transitory? He has a really good point there. I'm not necessarily concerned about hyperinflation, but I do believe everything that the Federal Reserve is saying is that they're going to get their 2% target. And I think there's this thing where it's like all of a sudden they finally get it. Like it's changed. Like the whole framework has changed. And I don't think that you can go back and look at all of these times where inflation can continually underperformed and say that it's going to continue to do that, because too much has changed, And he's right. Like, we are going to get that 2% inflation. And then you've got these two issues that, one, they see the inflation effects as transitory, and two, they're willing to allow it to run above 2% for a period to kind of, quote unquote, catch up. So there's an issue, though, which is that inflation begets inflation, right? So if they get that 2% inflation, and maybe it's supposed to be transitory, but then because it happens and the public sees it, it's going to result in more inflation. That's what I think. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about hyperinflation, but I am concerned about inflation getting away from them and them having to increase interest rates really quickly, really hard, and the market not knowing how to handle it, because nobody in the market has ever had to deal with that environment. You know what I mean? I got first edition base set Pokemon cards in my... Oh my gosh, I saw this video the other day where somebody opened up a Pokemon pack and they got a God pack, which means that every card in the pack is holographic. And it had 2 different kinds of holographic Charizards in it, which is like the most valuable card. And they were like, I mean, this guy was pretty like trying to be calm about it, but he was freaking out, man. It was a good pack. It was funny. Anyone who traded back in Volker's day knows what it looks like, but how many people like that are there actually out there, right? Like the guys that knew that environment are like in their 60s now, man. It's going to be interesting, but like these, like the crazy thing is that we're looking at a market where a majority of the market participants don't even remember the post-2008 market anymore. Like, of those of us that started in 2008, we're like old hats now, or we're considered old hats now. I'm sitting on $20,000 across Magic the Gathering. Oh my gosh. Uzi. Okay, well, so Ace took a short there on that. It kind of went a little bit and then kind of snapped back. It's they're toying at the open. I don't know. It's incredibly wishy-washy today, isn't it? So the thing is they're kind of dancing around this little hole here, right? There's this hole around the 62, 63 area that they've traded quickly across multiple times. I think at some point it's going to have to fill in and there's going to have to be liquidity there, but why did Jigsaw and not Bookmap? So I believe that Jigsaw has a better DOM. I also believe that they have a better development team, but I'm not a huge fan of Java. I feel that all of the fancy visual charts are unnecessary, and I would rather look at the DOM. So I know a lot of people like it, and I'm not saying that it's like the wrong way to trade, but I very much prefer this, just having a lot of DOMs up. Nordic American tanker said a longer voyage caused by the current blocking of the Suez Canal will lock up more shipping capacity, which could result in higher freight rates. Reports Bloomberg. Whoa, did you see they jumped through that? There was 2,000 sitting there at 38.63, and they went through that order like a hot knife through butter. I remember when I was a kid, I never played it or anything, but somebody gave me a few cards or that were like useless or terrified of. It is still there, but there are a small and then another one. I can only assume that the constructor, because could act. No, but it'll start chopping. Seems like YouTube's having. Definitely looks like YouTube. And they turned bearish again, man. Oh yeah, it's really screwed up. Oh, that's not good. Okay, wait. Now maybe we're back. I waved to the camera. I should be able to see it in the preview window. Yeah, we're back. We're back. It looks to me like the YouTube's streaming had some sort of service disruption there, because on my end it never stopped sending. I wasn't skipping frames or anything like that, so it looks like there was a just service disruption on YouTube's end. Well, what did we miss in that minute or so that we were gone? The market is just completely falling apart here. It kind of looks like it'll be hard for them to just like really slice down through it, but they are awfully bearish at the moment. Ouch. Like someone is slamming into the bids. Would you say smashing the bids? Yes. Is that what the right phrase is? I forget. There was somebody that used that name that we had to ban, didn't we? I don't even remember now. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. Go and look. Okay, so it looks like they're getting a little bit of a pullback now. I'm tempted to go long there, but like if we're talking about like a meta order coming in, it's like way too early to be thinking about that sort of a thing. So no, I don't see him. I must be thinking of somebody else. Either way, we haven't seen him for a while, have we? Oh, really? The thing you coded up yesterday doesn't save on the workspace for some reason. I have to reapply the indicator to the charts on a restart. Oh, okay. I'll look at that. I have some theories. Well, I know what will cause that. I'm not sure why it would happen to that particular indicator, but I know what to do to look for it, so. So there's some pretty good bullish action there, but you can see that like the bearishness is kind of still there. Yeah, it's probably because of the enum that we put in there, right? We should see on the output window. That whole exercise, we dug a little bit more into that whole, last digit thing, and it was really interesting, but I actually found some studies about it, and the studies said, yeah, it doesn't follow that law. But it's not necessarily helpful because what it says is that the behavior is even more random. Okay, so the 10-year is getting below 1.60, just pointing out now. Okay, so Greg Store here saying Supreme Court opinions are coming in an hour, still pending from the fall. Google, Oracle, copyright fight, Philadelphia foster care clash over religious/gay rights, and Affordable Care Act challenge. Fannie Freddie profit sweep case. Could that be part of our problem? Sorry, I keep turning the microphone off, but my lips are really chapped this morning. So they are back above the open. It's looking pretty bullish now. So still quite a lot of back and forth here. Okay, so as that happened, I saw the treasuries reach for new highs there. As they were kind of at the higher end of that last little run. They may yet well, there you go. Straight away another local high. But I'm seeing, like, look at that at 132.090 level break setup. Okay. They're making good pushes on the upside, but it's not quite getting there. Kumo's family got VIP access to COVID tests last year when resources were scarce. So, of course, as if things couldn't get any more worse for him. Okay, there, finally got filled. I am 3 for 3. I think that I'm going to stop there. Although I will point out that all of my wins were on the long side. Kind of suggests that the buying side is stronger. Look at that. some strong upside movement there. I could have moved my target on that one for sure. What are we doing over here? Man, Brandon has not done very well lately. There was a time when he was just absolutely awesome. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust premium to NAV just keeps getting more negative, now at negative 14%. Wait, what? Their price is lower than the net asset value. So speculators are selling the Bitcoin Trust as a, because they think that price is going to go down. And wow, this chart is really weird. When you look at it, you start to go, what's going on here? So here's the price. The white line is their price, and the blue line is their asset value. So historically, they've traded at a higher than what their asset value is. But just recently, it is flipped. So now they are trading less than their worth in Bitcoin. Is this because, if they were to sell all of their holdings, it would cause the price of Bitcoin to go down, and so you have to discount that? Which kind of suggests that now all of a sudden the market is predicting that Bitcoin's going to come down. Do you think? I don't know. That is an awfully weird chart. And that was being retweeted by Bitfinex. Let's see what he's been up to lately. I haven't read anything from... Oh, dude, this reminds me of something. Oh my gosh. You want to see probably the funniest burn I've ever seen in my life? Oh my gosh. This is so funny, man. I read this just before I went to sleep, and I couldn't tell anybody about it. And it was just... I wanted to share it with somebody, and it was hard to go to sleep because I thought it was so funny. Okay, so Cameron Winklevoss. You remember the Winklevoss twins, right? They're the two guys in the Facebook movie that helped found Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg. But and they were on a rowing team. They were going to become Olympic medalists in rowing. But Mark Zuckerberg basically was able to kind of pull a fast one out from underneath of him, right? They invested in the company, but then he went and he just started a different company. Anyways, I forget the exact specifics of it. Okay, so here's Cameron Winklevoss. They're big into the Bitcoin, right? They own the Gemini exchange. Non-fungible tokens liberate art. Traditional art is confined to time and space. You have to be in the right city, go to a museum, be invited to someone's home, etc. Anyone, anywhere with an internet connection can view non-fungible tokens and take them in. This is a huge breakthrough, is what he says. And this guy, Wild Geeters, questions that, and is totally right. How is looking at a non-fungible token as an experience any different than just looking at a picture of a video online? He's right. Cameron Winklevoss. If a picture or video of traditional art was actually compelling, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That doesn't answer my question. If I look at a non-fungible token of a picture, how is that any different of an experience than just looking at the picture online? There's no difference. And how is this revolutionary for viewing art? He's right, because the non-fungible token is just a JPEG on the blockchain, right? Cameron, do you think looking at a copy is the same thing as the original? Wild Gilchers, well, the digital copies are identical, so yes. Right? So then this other guy comes in, respectable lawyer. I'm really starting to understand how a marginally clever nerd stole a multi-billion-dollar company right out from under his nose. Oh my gosh. This is the sickest burn I've ever seen. Oh man, you gotta wonder. The Winklevotts, they can't actually believe any of that shit, right? Oh man. Okay, so Yemeni's doing pretty good here now. I think he could probably, I think that 3880 would be a good target on the upside. I feel like I've made what I need to today, and I'm a little concerned about picking up a bad spot, but man, that looks really good. Non-fungible tokens are a promising technology, but not for this trash. It's CryptoKitties, man. I'm telling you, this is like one of the best signs you can look at to know that Bitcoin is in a bubble and that its days are numbered, is when people start making shit up. Like, the thing is that everybody says Bitcoin is worth something because it is rare. Well, something isn't worth something just because it is rare. Okay, but that's the main argument for Bitcoin, is that it's rare, relatively speaking. So you can go and you can just make your own Bitcoin and say that it's rare, right? Like a Garlic coin is more rare. And it's been mined out fairly quickly. So does that mean that it's going to be worth more now all of a sudden? No. Like, it has to do with how much demand there actually is to use the thing. To, like, if it's rare but nobody wants it, then it doesn't matter. If it's rare and everybody wants it, then you have something, right? So people can just go out and make like a new coin and claim that it's rare. So there's like no limit to the number of different coins that you can make. But here's the thing. Making a coin requires a little bit of work. You have to program, and you have to set up an initial network and do all of this stuff, right? And then you have to get people to buy into it. But with a non-fungible token, anybody can go onto one of these websites and create a non-fungible token and then claim this is a rare piece of art, or this is the first tweet ever on this thing, and people are buying it. They're buying it and it's nothing. Like, it's not, how is this thing worth anything? It's just a digital copy of a tweet or a picture. Who cares? Right? And these things are going for millions of dollars? Well, probably not, because what actually happens is you go and you put your piece of artwork on this website, right? And then you start a bidding war with yourself. You create alternate accounts and you start bidding the price up until it reaches like $1 million. And then everybody on the media is talking about it and so forth. So next time you put one out, there's tons of public interest in it, because in the past your work has been worth millions of dollars, right? So then you put it out, and then that time you're actually getting something from a real person, and you've made millions of dollars in one hit. That's how the scam works. That, or you launder money with it. Right? I'm telling you, non-fungible tokens is just like CryptoKitties the last time around. CryptoKitties was actually kind of fun, but it is a sign, man. And I'm just been noticing this past week, like, the sentiment from the butters, because it's been like 60K was rejected, and it's been so long now, like, their overall sentiment seems not as positive. So yeah. Okay, so they're backing off a little bit. There was there was a slip up there at top, so that might mean that we might have to turn short term. Is there a turn of phrase to describe his rhetoric? It's sort of intended to throw the other person off balance by strawmanning or moving the focus of the argument. We wouldn't be having this conversation, ... Do you think logically false statement that is a non sequitur? Okay. When there's money to be made, there will be mental gymnastics defending it, even if it's crazy. Bitcoiners already do it with the environmental damage it does. Yeah. I swear if Bitcoin killed 1 million people, they'll have all these charts and stats of deaths and show more people die falling down the stairs, etc. Yeah. I hate Bitcoin the most because of this. Bitcoin's main use is to prop up the self-esteem of societally useless NEETs. I forget what NEET stands for. We've been through this before, haven't we? Not in education, employment, or training. Oh, okay. They have nothing to offer the world that makes any money. Bitcoin changed that, and they have a feeling of being rewarded by society for being useful without actually being useful in any way. Well, there was a bit of a bearish excursion there. I'm wondering. Okay. Well, it actually turned there for a second. Let's see if it comes back to the line. No? I don't know. Maybe. Okay. So a lot of contracts trading at 38.68 and through him. We're actually still fairly early into the session, but we're coming into the reversal time period, so I'm going to be careful about that. Might be a little directionless here for a while. There does appear to be some periods of areas of low liquidity, though, causing them some problems. So why did Brandon try going long there? That doesn't make much sense to me. Well, I don't know. Okay, well, so they appeared to recover the price where the big order happened, but now you can kind of see that there's maybe a little bit of a lack of liquidity in that area. No, that was good. I could have just pulled everything off of that one alone. How you guys doing over there? No, we're doing good. I guess a lot of people dropped off when the stream had problems, huh? Yeah. You look at it, there's a good dozen or so people that we never recovered. That's unfortunate. But hey, look, it's a buy-in. Are we going to come back into that 74 area? Yes, sir. That's action looks like it could be good for a new high, huh? Ether Ader is still here. Thank you. When did you start coming around? It's been like you started coming here this week, right? Or was it earlier than that? Will Justin, another name that I haven't like necessarily called out before, but I notice you're there. I notice you're there. Oh, you hop in and oh yeah, okay, I get you. Yeah, I feel you. Because it's I admit that it's for most people it's probably you're not going to come and watch every day, right? There might be something going on in the market that you want to hear or you want to talk about, and but not everybody is going to be like, oh man, Seth is just the greatest guy and I want to hang out with him all the time. I get it. That's cool though. But when you come back though, that means that I'm doing something right. Yeah. Okay, well, they didn't quite make it up there, but it's not bad. Who can take this room day after day? Right? I have to say, Ace, because I beat up on you quite a bit lately, all in good fun, of course. But oh man, so I was looking at it afterwards when I was had some medication. And I was like, what? How did Ace handle all that abuse I gave him? Because if it was me, I would start to be feeling icky about myself. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I think the thing is that ultimately we agree. It's just that I have a much more like I'm trying to be systematic about it, right? Are they gonna come up here? We are good, bro. No abuse. I feel great about it. That's good. You know what? Why is it? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Hey, May, might have quite differing political views in on aliens, but you never get vitriolic, which I like. Oh, good. Good. Well, you know what? One of the things is that when I'm streaming, I usually take a little bit of Adderall in the morning because if I don't, my chemicals throughout the day get really messed up and I can't even stay awake. It's really weird. And so I think it makes me maybe a little bit more positive than the normal person. You know what I mean? I care about the truth and you don't. That's okay. It takes all kinds to make the world go around. Oh, there you go. I mean, let's not say that I don't care about the truth. Okay. It's just that there are some situations where I think that there are more important things. Yeah. It's okay. Well, that was looking good, but they're coming short of that new high. The Ritalin here, so I know it takes. Well, the way that I react to it, Ritalin and Adderall is totally different. Oh man, so my whole thing, I shouldn't talk about medication. Like people are gonna see it and then be like, oh, you're ADHD, and they treat you differently, right? But when I was a kid, I mostly did Ritalin, and my parents didn't like the way that I was on Adderall. And then when I decided, I stopped taking it through college. I got through college or university without the medication. And I have to say it was so much harder. But when I was in school, of course, school is easy too, but, in high school, it was just like doing a lot of reading. But in a university, it was without the Adderall, it was like too much. And I really should have gone back on it back then. And I probably could have done better in school, but I don't know if it would have mattered because I still got a good job and everything, right? But, man, so when I got back on it again after I got divorced, because the thing was after I got divorced, it was so emotional and I just could not handle the emotions. It was too much. And I was starting to suffer at work and everything. So that's when I decided to get back on medication. And so initially they tried Ritalin and then which didn't really quite do it. Like it just didn't give me the focus that I needed. So then we tried Adderall and Adderall did it. Like it gave me the focus that I needed. But when I come off of it, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, man. That I remember those times. So it was long before the stream, right? It was like every day. And the thing was I was really into a girl at that time and timing just wasn't really right. And I think that there was somebody else that she was more interested in. And so I was really distressed over that too. So it was like every day when I was coming off, it was like full on depression. And I just was like, would like sit in my car and sob until I got over it and then could go and work out at the gym. And I just hid it from everybody at the gym, right? It was so bad. So that was when they got me on the Strattera, and the Strattera kind of took away the emotional parts, but it still didn't give me the motivation. So then I take just a little bit of Adderall and that's what gets me there, because I do have this issue where it's like there's too many vacuums that suck up the neurotransmitters, but then the brain doesn't secrete enough of it in general. But I think that there's like different levels of it. It's like I suck up too much of the norepinephrine, but I don't produce enough of the dopamine. or something of that nature. Okay, so it came back to our entry. I was really trying to let that one run. When I set this up, I said, I can take a $10 loss. That's okay. So I think that's what I will do, because I still believe there's a chance that they're going to bounce here. Live Action says, I don't think treasury traders would likely join a room, but throw in a commodity or currency likely increase views. Yeah. Oh, so before I go into that, because that's probably a whole different discussion. We kind of discussed that yesterday, but I was going to say, well, first we were talking about the Adderall. Anyways, when I only take 5 milligrams of Adderall, that seems like that's enough to give me the thing that I need, and I don't end up having the come off in the evening. That is just so absolutely terrible. So, by the way, I do not believe that ADHD people are better traders at all. In fact, I think there are ADHD comes into a lot of the things that people with ADHD are simply not good at. Now, you take medication, then you can kind of overcome that, and then maybe it's beneficial. But no, it makes it harder. But it also kind of draws people to it. So you do run into a lot of ADHD people that like to trade. Anyways, I'd been thinking about this when I get on TikTok. So many of these people are young. So I saw this one TikTok, and stick with me. I know this seems like a really weird tangent, but you'll see where I'm getting into it and how it ties back into the conversation we're having with Ace. I saw this TikTok of this girl. I don't remember why I initially started following her. I think that she had an opinion on an issue that I liked, and now it seems like she is just not on the same side of the political spectrum as me. But she's a doctor. So a girl that's a doctor. She's still quite young though. And she made a TikTok where she was talking about like dating people or something. And the person that she was dating got a stimulus check and she didn't. And she's like, what? You make so little that you got a stimulus check? Because she's a doctor, right? And that was kind of the joke. And I was sitting there just laughing at it. I was like, oh, single people not getting the check if they make more than $75,000 a year. That's so unfortunate. Right? Because you have the kids and everything, and the two of your income combined and everything, like, oh man, like you get the setup, right? And that just got me thinking about so many of the other things. Like when you look at kids' lives, because kids are always like, the boomers, they don't understand us, and because they don't understand the struggles that you have with the housing and things like that. Oh, okay, maybe true. Me as a millennial, I'm in a different situation, right? But even for me, I was able to come out of the financial crisis pretty good. I mean, it hurt. It definitely put us back a few years. But I came out of it pretty well, whereas a lot of people just never recovered, right? But some of the other issues that kids are worried about are like, going to school and dealing with kids at school and dealing with being rejected by potential romantic partners and things like that. And there's just this whole thing we have the monkey brain, and the monkey brain is concerned that if people don't like you, that you're going to get kicked out of the group and then you're going to starve to death, right? That's the monkey brain. But it seems to me that the older you get, the less those sorts of things start to factor in, because maybe it's because you're self-sufficient, or maybe it's because you've dealt with all of those things before. Maybe it's because you're established enough that none of that stuff is going to harm you. But going back to Ace, you get what I mean, Ace? It's like the older you get, especially as a guy, the less you just don't give a fuck what anybody else is saying. Because I'm sure that getting hit on, getting slammed like that, and you were a teenager, that might be a little bit too much, right? Agreed. Social pressure isn't as much. It's really weird. And maybe part of it is also that there's been this pandemic, and so we've all had to be isolated anyways, and so we don't care about our social groups. I don't know. When I started thinking about it, there's so many different reasons, but that has definitely been the case for me, was that I was always kind of independent thinking, but it used to be like, well, I'm going to be my independent thinking, and I've got to do the thing that is going to convince the group that they're wrong so that we do the right thing. Like, that's always been my whole life, my way of thinking. And all of a sudden, in the past little bit, I've just turned into like, it doesn't matter what I say, they're not going to believe me, so I might as well have fun with it, you know? What is it? I have a fortune cookie here. As I have to keep reminding myself every time that I want to get in an argument with people, I always have to say the wise. You can't read it. It says the wise learn more from fools than fools from the wise. I wonder though, what makes fools learn the most? Experience, I guess, because the difference between a fool and a wise is experience, right? Not that I consider myself wise, but I'm actually known to be quite foolish. But I've kind of, that's kind of the thing with the Steve is like, okay, so I can make a TikTok and I can give people good information, and guess what? Most people won't care. And even if they do care, they might not understand what I'm saying, or they might not do the work to go in and find the thing. But what if I just do what everybody else does and make fun of it instead, right? Then hopefully you get all of the viewers that all of these other people do to get views, but you're actually teaching them something, because they could just go, oh, okay, he's saying that you should do this. That must mean that doing this is really, really bad. I'm hoping that that's what people think, but I'm going to have to I'm going to have to put like tons of disclaimers everywhere, right? And I hope that the disclaimers don't take people out of the joke, because it'll be really funny to be doing that sort of stuff and people to take it seriously. Well, we're back below the open, man. I don't know. Like, I still am kind of leaning long here. I'm really mad that I gave up everything on that. It didn't quite get to 32. I got 29 ticks in that. So I guess I was just asking for too much. And when we had that little slip up at the top, I should have gotten out. That would have been a good signal to get out. And I just didn't notice it at the time. Did it make the sound? It did make the sound, didn't it? It went up there and I was like, oh, that's, it's doing pretty good. But I guess I was too caught up in how good it looked. Manage Your Chimp Paradox. Good book. Oh, that's interesting. Teach us what you learned from that microstructure book that you just finished reading that you liked. That I haven't already shared? I don't know, man. I need to go and read the book again because I want to understand the material and well enough that I can go and derive all of those formulas from memory with you guys live. Not that we would do that on the stream, but like that's the point at which I think I need to understand this stuff. But one of the big things that I got from that book is that places where there's a lots of liquidity tend to get attention from us, but the places that there isn't a lot of liquidity actually tend to be better indicators of what is going to happen. or rather, if you get an area of high liquidity and they really want to trade in that area, it's like, okay, great. But like, what is it going to do afterwards? I've done everything to try and figure out what it's going to do afterwards, and I don't know. But if you have a place where there's not a lot of liquidity, they just will fall back into it over and over and over again. And once you start to look at that and you realize that you can get bumps in the profile, even though the latent liquidity in that area was actually low, and that it actually causes that because the latent liquidity in that area was low, you see the profile like completely differently, right? And almost like you were looking at it backwards before. Will, I'm looking for an indicator that gives me an idea of what kind of point swings have taken place over a time period. Well, so it looks to me like what you want is zigzag, right? So you want a version of zigzag that will tell you how many ticks that zig was. Ninja Trader comes with them. There's one on the Ninja Trader forums that's really popular called Price Action Swing, something like that. That will display a lot of good information about each swing. And then Jigsaw has one built in too. Which trading tool do you use? So I'm using primarily Jigsaw Day Trader for my execution. If you go on the channel, one of the videos that you'll see right away on that front page is what is the best futures trading software platform? And I talk a lot more about what platforms I use and why. And I also have an affiliate link so that if you buy Jigsaw, helps the channel out. But I'm primarily using Jigsaw, and then for my automated trading bits, I use Ninja Trader. Well, do you think that they just want to sell and that they're going to go and break the low again? Because now that we're below the open, I kind of feel like that's a strong possibility. Although if they fail at doing so, maybe the buying comes back even stronger. The other thing that I learned from that book that I really like is that unless you're market making and you're able to just continually add contracts and do all of that sort of a thing, that you can't just make money from the random movements of the market. Everybody says, oh, it's all about it's a Gaussian distribution. And so you can just bank on there being, a certain kind of mean reversion and stuff. And they show, I wouldn't say that these things prove it, but they show some pretty compelling models that explain why the market moves the way that it does, that suggests that you just can't do that. And that is why I just keep going deeper and deeper into, if you're a retail day trader, you've got to know as much as you can about what's going on and why people are buying and selling. You need to try and be as informed of a trader as you can. Which is hard because here today, like, the market doesn't seem to be entirely sure why they're buying or selling, do they? You're from India. I love the way Forex works, especially 24/7. But we aren't allowed to trade. Do you trade in Forex? I do not. In fact, I have a video on the channel, not one of the most widely watched ones, but I have a video about basically why I don't like Forex. But the gist of it is that in Forex, you're basically trading against the broker and it's not a real market. So I'm not a fan of Forex. There are FX futures that you can trade. But man, trading currencies is really hard because getting the information that is actually going to move those currencies is on a day-to-day basis is really hard. Of course, you will get moves. Once a month or something, you'll get a move in a currency off of a piece of news that you can just ride. But they're so rare. It's like, how are you going to consistently catch those? Trading forex is hard. Well, back to the lows. It's a little quiet. We are in the counter trend period still. Actually kind of coming out of it. So I'm going to try one here. But it might be a really quick one. Because I'm concerned about the possibility of a stop run lower that reverses quickly. Right? There's been a lot of that lately. I want to add more. That's okay. Let's just puke that one really quick and kind of wait. Feels like a trader's going to trade day. That might be. I mean, the thing is when you look at levels and everything else like that, it seems like there's a lot of really good reasons for them to be trading, no? But fundamental reasons, it's difficult to know for sure. Because it's like, it's selling, it's coming out of nowhere. Like there's a reason for them to doing it, but there wasn't like an impetus event that like the thing happened and we all knew that move happened because they thought this, It was more of they looked at the news overnight and they planned out their day and they decided they were going to go short on that sort of a thing. Okay. Believe the randomness is tradable. I bet so many factors are incorporated in a moment you can't blink. I don't know. I might just say the evidence in there is pretty compelling that unless you have a reason that you shouldn't make a trade, unless you have a truly predictive signal that you shouldn't make a trade. And I mean predictive. Okay, well, that was a really big excursion on the upside, and then they went and pushed the low of the day and stopped through. Now there is some absorption on it, but look at that. Like they're trading through like 900s and stuff down in here. So you're like an indicator-based trader or price action? I would say that the primary thing that I'm watching and using on a technical basis for my trading is liquidity. I'm looking at how many limit orders are available to trade in a location at any one given time. So did you notice they made that strong push up and it just kind of like it got up there? But when it came down, how quickly it came down and how few contracts it took them to push it there. Now they come back down into 38.54 and there's actually a lot of trade there, right? Which is not a particularly good thing for us, by the way. So there is liquidity below 38.55 willing to buy. So we're just kind of watching that and seeing if there's changes and paying attention to areas where there doesn't seem to be a lot of liquidity at any one given moment. So now it's gone down there. It seems like their desire to trade it has decreased a little bit. So you trade based on market depth. There you go. Yeah. Is it going to get there? Is it going to get there? Come on. There we go. Okay. Another little bit of a push. So now what we're kind of seeing is there was a lot of liquidity there, but they pushed through it. They're pushing through it. There's liquidity at every level. They're pushing through it. So that means that there is just a lot of market sellers that are just overwhelming them. At the moment, at least. Oh man, they're trading some big numbers down in here. I'm probably going to have to cover somewhere in here. Okay. They're going to go down again. One thing I should note is that when you get that kind of behavior, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end. It often means that it's just going to slow down and that there's going to be another little excursion a little bit further down to maybe like there and there. Thinking of where big money will initiate may help one's game, yeah. Although the question is like, why would they initiate in one spot versus another? I don't know. I used to feel like I knew a bunch of spots where they were likely to initiate or not. And now so much I don't. But the one thing that I do pay attention to that I would say is technical is like where were the spots that they pivoted last time and where are like the single prints or like the places where they just traded through prices and then they never saw them again. And I try to use those places as benchmarks for where people's positions potentially are. And then, of course, my own inventory cost basis. So like in this one, I'm concerned because we're in levels that we haven't seen for a while, right? So in my mind, this is like excursion into the unknown. But my inventory cost basis says that they are beyond stops now. Okay. So like a lot of this action that you're seeing down here is going to be stops. I'm sure that a lot of that absorption was also sellers taking profits. So it was a lot of absorption in that area, right? But that's where I get into that, like, because of the square root law of market order impact, you're probably going to get to that spot where you're going to see a lot of absorption, and it's going to go through it a little bit, right? Because the meta order is not done, and it just means that they'll keep going, but the trajectory will be less strong, right? Because the book has to try and balance back out. I feel like I'm sharing too much. I don't know if when I say all this stuff, if it really makes sense, or you go like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense how we use that to trade, but I don't know. I feel like this last one that I got kind of lucky, so whatever. When I was new, it was suggested that I trade upside down, and it gave me a different perspective. Well, you really got to wonder, like, on the technicals, the market doesn't look random to me, man. The market doesn't look random to me. It's just that any one individual thing that I look at and I backtest it comes out that it doesn't make money, right? It's like the market is this big collection of repeated market actions that happen over and over again and aren't random, but you can't make money taking advantage of them. It's so weird. It's almost like mind-boggling to think how does it do that? How does it freaking do that? So then you go into, well, some people might be able to just see patterns and just do it, you know? Well, yeah, maybe. But how do they do that? They themselves don't even know. Or maybe some people are just really lucky. A lot of training material teaches candlestick patterns, but never go into why those patterns appear. Well, I can explain that one. There's just only so many possibilities, right? Like, think about it. What kind of bars can we get? Here, let's minimize this. I want to talk about this. Now that I'm out, I want to talk about this so that I don't feel bad about not getting another 5 ticks on that. Holy crap. Okay, so you have a bar. So one thing is you could have an up bar. We'll indicate up bars by filling them, okay? You could have a down bar, right? Oops. You could have a down bar, right? You could have a bar that doesn't go anywhere. Okay. You could have an up bar with a really big tail on the downside. You could have an up bar with a really big tail on the upside. Then vice versa the other way, right? Okay. So those are basically the choices. Move up, move down, doji, hammer, shooting star, inverse hammer, inverse shooting star, or whichever one is which, I forget. Okay, those are like your choices. I don't think there are any other choices. And then every quote unquote candlestick pattern is just a combination of these, right? It's like, oh, okay, you have a strong up move followed by a doji. Okay. So does it mean something? Well, I mean, I don't know. You can go and backtest it, and I think what you will find is that you will find a strong probability of something happening over a certain time frame, but that when you really, really go out, and I mean like you go out over multiple years, you find that it's all just noise. Yeah. In fact, I have I have a back test where you can go and you can look at like literally every candlestick pattern. So if a shooting star appears on a 1 minute chart versus a 1 hour chart is a big difference in interpretation. It could mean they hit a level where solid came. I mean, who knows? Like that's the thing, is that all of the things that people supposedly see in candlestick patterns, you should be able to see in the liquidity, right? The difference is that in the liquidity, I can go in and I can see, okay, so if there was a big move up, did it happen because there wasn't really all that much volume, but the market makers just weren't willing to hold it? Or did it happen because a lot of volume came in and really pushed through? I think that matters. Those times where the limit orders hold and there's a lot of limit orders, but the market just plows through them anyways, those matter. Like what has just happened here today, now that we've broken lows and the way that it did it, just the fact that they were trading almost 600 to 1,000 contracts at every level before they could get through says something really important to me. These people that were selling really wanted to sell for whatever reason. I know numerous pro traders that use one color bar charts. Well, I think that there was a study done somewhere that suggested that the colors bias you. But that just goes back into that, like, but yeah, but does the chart actually tell you anything? I mean, I can't say that the chart is irrelevant, right? That the S&P 500 was down yesterday and was down overnight matters, right? Does anybody here think that doesn't matter? Like, the context that we're in definitely has an effect on the overall market. Like, it would be kind of hard to trade to come in here and say, okay, current price is 38.51. You can't look at the chart, so you can't know whether we were higher or lower yesterday or anything like that. Just based off of the price, 38.51, should you buy or sell? That's kind of hard to do. Unless you have some sort of model that suggests that this is what the appropriate value for the S&P 500 is. And the issue with that one is that you know that they could be far off of what is value for a long time, and your model might not be entirely correct. One said to me he doesn't want to be biased yet. But there's candlesticks for you. Though I have to say, lately, it doesn't seem like candlesticks are as popular. I get this funny stuff, man. Like, number one, RSI is far and away the most popular thing I've seen lately. Everybody on TikTok always talking about RSI. Man, my mouth is like really dry today. But you know what's the one that makes me interested, though? The one that interests me is price action. Are candlesticks price action? I mean, I guess. Like the thing that I don't get is that they all say, like, price action, what happened in the past doesn't matter. There are a small number of places where there is going to be one side has an advantage over the other side, and it's going to move, and you can see when that is happening and make a trade on that momentum. And that is like the, what's the big price action guy's name? I can't even remember his name. Anyways, that is like the basis of price action as it's been explained by him. But then when I look on TikTok and I see other people talking price action, and it's like, okay, here's this bar was this and this bar was this. And I'm like, you're trading candlesticks. And the chart, you're just not putting an indicator or drawing a line on it. Ask what the big boys are using. Heard recently the retail traders' volume is so small, big boys look at them as noise. I wouldn't say that it is so small. In stocks, they are something like a third of the order flow. But in the models in that book that I read, like in the Kyle model looks at it as there are three types of traders. There's the market maker that is trying to make money off of the spread of the instrument. There is the informed trader that has a piece of information that isn't priced in by the market that they know will move price to a specific place. And then there is noise traders, all of the people that think that they have a reason for it to go to a certain location, but don't actually have that. And basically, what happens is the market maker has a disadvantage against the informed trader. And so the whole game is the market maker uses the noise traders to be able to break even, essentially. So it's interesting because, one, the vast majority of volume in this particular model, the vast majority of volume is considered just noise. One. Two, the market wouldn't function correctly without that noise. I'm not saying that like anybody that's a retail trader that they shouldn't trade and they're just likely to lose money. That's not what I'm saying. But the way that the model works is like it's mostly noise. And so that's where I have to come in and I'm like, okay, so we have a chart pattern and it's done X, Y, and Z. Does that really tell you something about the future? Well, if all of that movement is just noise anyways, then how are you really reading anything from it, right? So yeah. Now there is this whole thing where there's interesting types of math where you can see how much of a particular variable. How do I explain this? Let me show you a study. Let me show you a study I downloaded yesterday. Where is it? Scholarly articles. Oh, no, that's not the one. It's this one. Now, that was the Benford's Law one. We already talked about that one, actually. There we go. Okay, so this one is there a replication crisis in finance? So they're saying, you can't they'll do a study and then you can't duplicate it because there's too many factors involved. So you come in and you say, okay, they found this on this market. So now we go and we do it on this market and we get a different result. And maybe the reason that we got that different result is because the Federal Reserve is putting so much money into the system that it changes things, right? Well, when they go into it, basically there's a large number of observed factors, right? So what they've done, what is the process that they call? What do they call this? Oh, a Bayesian model. That's right. So you can use a Bayesian model to kind of say there's a factor out there that we can't observe directly, and there's a lot of noise, but we can use a long period of data to find out what that factor is actually as, right? And then when they come down here, they go through a bunch of different studies and everything, and in the end, they were able to use. Did I go past it? I need to be able to see more. Here it is right here. So they went through and they found all of the different factors that this Bayesian model could find, and they basically determined that there are 15 factors at work in the market. In other words, all edges can be derived from these 15 things. An edge in seeing something about one of these elements that the overall market doesn't see. Okay? And I'll read them for you if you can't read them there. Accruals, debt issuance, investment, skewness. Skewness is like, something when it happens, skewness is like the distribution of something is like this, right? So it happens most of the time this way, but sometimes it happens this way and your losses are much larger, okay? Skewness, value, low risk, quality, momentum, profitability, profit growth, seasonality, size, and leverage. So like long short equity strategy would be an example of leverage, right? They go long some names and they go short other names, and those two kind of balance each other out. And because they balance each other out, you can use a very, very high leverage. Is this an expert? No. It was markets under the microscope. I shouldn't be telling you guys that, but Live Action has been around for so long, and I know that he would enjoy that book. So the rest of you, just ignore that. We don't want everybody out there getting it. Although I would assume that most retail traders, if they read that book, wouldn't trade. I think most retail traders read that book, they would just not trade. But then it gets back into the noise thing. It's like, somebody has to do it, guys. Somebody has to do it, and only a very small percentage of the people can be at the top. Do you think you have what it takes to be at the top? Well, I don't know if I do, to be honest with you. But I just enjoy it so much, I'm never going to stop trying. I've been doing really well lately, though, haven't I? You think the market's going to bounce again? So they did make a bounce higher low there by a tick. This does look to me like something that could turn into a long, and man, my mouth is so dry today. That probably sounds disgusting. Anyways, this does kind of look like something where it's like they'll sell into the European close, and then as soon as we shut the stream down, it'll be nothing but buy all day. And they'll completely wipe out all of the losses from yesterday. That's the way it usually goes, right? Maybe. It probably is the case, though, that some of this, I think that there is time frames to this, and there's concerns about lockdowns in Europe, so I would expect there to be more selling, or it wouldn't surprise me if there was a difference after the European close. It says she is headed up. Well, she crossed. Did you take that one? I haven't been paying close enough attention to see if you've posted entries here or not. This is one where if I was really going to try and swing it, I would wait for a pullback first. Because there is like a lot of holes down in here that could trip them up. Futures Trader 71 says this sell-off brought to you by Futures Trader 71 goes on vacation. When you need volatility, send Futures Trader 71 on vacation. And then he says that if you contribute to his vacation volatility fund, then we could maybe keep things going. I might be able to donate $1 or $2. You're long 51.25. You did take it. Okay. A little later than I thought you would, but. Goldman Sachs on the 2 and 10-year spread. Our forecasts accounting for the Fed's framework call for a steeper U.S. Treasury curve than what history would suggest. Outside of the taper tantrum, deviations above a 2 standard deviation band are rare and have tended to be transitory. Biden press conference today may bring some volatility. You think his caregiver Kamala will be there with him? I don't know. This is maybe one of the big reasons why the market. Remember, we identified that it might be because of taxes, because everything that we've been hearing out of the administration is that they think that they have carte blanche to go for it, and that they should go for it, and that the proposal that's going to come out is going to be extremely progressive. And I question the how realistic it is for that bill to pass. But some things have been said recently by Democrats that make people think that there's a possibility of it getting through the filibuster. So now with Kamala, there's this interesting one with Kamala. A couple of days ago, people asked Kamala Harris about the situation at the border, and she didn't have anything to say about it. She says, I haven't been briefed on that yet. And then the next day, Joe Biden said, okay, I'm putting her in charge of the border. Okay. That doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence, does it? I think that he just wants it to go away. I think that Joe Biden just wants to say, okay, here's the policy, and he doesn't want to change anything and just let it happen. And he doesn't actually want to do anything or care about it, and he just wants the media to drop it. That's what I think. But the problem is that it's going to get worse. Because first you're going to have like a crazy summer. And then if they don't do anything about it, then next year it will be even more crazy. Because everybody will see, oh, it was a crazy summer last year and nothing happened. And so this is you're getting a pretty good winter there so far, Ace. I'm kind of like, feel like I should take another trade, but I got like 15 minutes, so I don't know if I really want to. Let's say I already got 75 today, right? 4 for 5, right? 4 for 5. No. 4 for 6. Oh, yeah, because that one I took a loss, and then the other one I took a small loss. And then I repositioned myself at a better spot. Oh, maybe it wasn't a better spot. I don't know. But I repositioned and took it short and then made more. Algo boycott today? I don't know. That's like, are you saying that like the buying has been algos? I don't know if that's the case. There you go, James Stanley. There's been so many signs at the top lately that I've stopped tracking most of them. Still, this one stands out. Ja Rule just sold a digitized version of a painting representing a fake festival for $122,000. Oh, that's nothing, dude. Some of these have gone for millions, right? Oh, no. You know what happened was, because the concurrent viewers is a little bit less than normal. halfway through the stream, actually, you can see it. I'll show you. Halfway through the stream, the YouTube died on us. And after that happened, not everybody made it back. Otherwise, we probably would have hit our normal. And you look at the activity, we've had 300, so that's about average. That's about average. It's kind of interesting how that works. Like, it's like a steady influx of people. Like, the numbers just stay consistent no matter what happens. Even if we get a big influx of people. That, which is why I'm convinced again that the audience for the very specific thing that we do is always going to be small. That there might be people interested in trading, but interested in the way that we're doing it, you know, it's still hard to follow. And so if I really want to make like a big YouTube channel, I should go down the fun route. Because I feel like I'm done a pretty good job accomplishing what we wanted to do over here. We got a good solid community. It's consistent. It's not huge. And I'm doing well right now, and I've learned a lot. And we're always finding new things. Continue to find new things. And as long as we are able to manage our risk appropriately, which has been a problem at times, when things get crazy, I think that we're in a good spot. And so if we want to start putting focus into growing YouTube, we should do it with a different channel. So we'll do that. We'll have fun. You can go find it. It's Stock Market Steve. It's up. I haven't posted any videos yet. It will probably be another week or two before I start making those. I got to practice. I got to practice my Bronx accent. You know, the other thing, Kyle, with YouTube pushing people to the stream is it seems to me like it doesn't push people to the stream. I don't know. Like, I don't know what causes it to recommend it to people or not. You know, it was one of the things that's really funny is that, or that I didn't realize at first, but like I'll always be browsing YouTube and I'll say, oh, there's a stock market live stream. Holy crap. How do they have like 2,000 viewers or whatever? Right. Well, because YouTube is pushing it. That's why it seems like I only ever run into these other streams that have these huge groups and I can't ever figure out why. It's just like that was the one that YouTube decided to push it that day and it brought everybody in. I couldn't find it even on search. Oh, really? Let's go back and check that. So we did have like for a period where it was just like straight up down. Oh, you're right. Oh my gosh. Maybe we did. You know, when everybody was like saying they finally took Seth out, maybe that's what happened earlier. Maybe that's why there was that disruption. Because yesterday's video is up, but this current stream is not showing. Yeah. So we have been throttled once again, but that's okay. It always comes back. What did I say? Oh, I can't even imagine. Perfectly normal. Well, no. Like, it's definitely, look. You do the search. Yesterday's stream is there. Live stream's not. So we are shadow banned at the moment. But it can be this sort of thing, like somebody can come in and like report the video or something. And then the algorithm will shadow ban you until a human comes and looks at it. And so it could be like that for up to a week. But you guys know, right? We have the link in the video description, so you just bookmark that live link and find it that way. Because that link is the same every day. Sorry, probably my fault. I'll leave the truth in politics out of chat from now on. Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about politics a little bit at the beginning, didn't we? We didn't talk about anything too spicy today. Oh man, I always wonder, like, what, like, if something like that happened, they should notify you or something, you know? It's lame. Oh, do you see it yeah, you can see it if you go to the channel. By the way, I like the thumbnail change that we made. It always stands out to me when I'm browsing through and I'm like, oh, live stream day trading. Ooh. Oh, it's just me. And then I'll go and I'll watch my own video. Sometimes. You know what I find so weird is that there's lots of things on YouTube that I used to think that's so dumb. Why is that so popular? So my kids, they watch Minecraft videos. And this is the way that a Minecraft video usually goes. It's like, oh, I've played Minecraft and I've beaten it like 1,000 times before. But this time we're going to implement all of these extra rules about what I can and cannot do, and then we'll go through. And of course, they get to have all the extra stuff about they made this building or this building and, you know, they constructed cool things along the way. It's oddly compelling. They have it on, and far too often, I find myself standing there watching it. And then I go, wait, why am I watching that? I have stuff to do. You know what I mean? Minecraft videos. It's always British people too. Probably my son thinks it's because Stampy became so popular from Minecraft and all of the British people followed that. And that's why the British community tends to be more Minecraft. Part of it is also that we've been playing it a lot lately. Like we have it on all our phones and so we can get together and play it with the kids, but oh man, it's weird. It's oddly compelling. And so then I find sometimes I used to wonder okay, I can see why somebody might want to watch and have friends to talk with during the live stream, but why would somebody watch it on replay? But you know what? A lot of people watch it on replay. And when I go back and I watch the videos, I find myself watching way more of the video than I expected. I'll go and find the thing that happened that day that I wanted to watch. And then all of a sudden I'm an hour into it. And I'm like, wait, no, there's other videos than you watch. Why am I doing this? I already know what happens. I was there, you know? Or just critiquing myself on an old video. That happens a lot too. Okay, so they made a pretty good move up there. Now they are turning back down. We're getting an ugly down candle here. We did cross the line again. I'm wondering if Ace did anything with it or if he's just managing it. Probably be fine. The thing is if it goes up, if this recovers, I really think that 38.65 and 38.75 are reasonable targets for today still, but we don't really know what's going to happen. It could get worse. Oh, you got out. Good job. Oh, did you just get out at the 5 points and just were done with it there? If so, then that was real nice. If so, then I think you did better than me today. Need to change your medicine? No, we're still... Took it at 6, so we're good for another 2 hours. Oh, you got 4. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. It comes back so hard though, right? I was hoping it would trend up all day. Yeah, me too. Well, when I took that long, I had that long at 38.68. That was a good trade. I thought that was going to trend all day long. And then there was that gap of it. I screwed that trade up so bad. If I had was just, I heard the sound and everything. I just dismissed it. I can't believe it did that. I love it when I can't go shopping because I'm in a problem. You gonna go shopping today? Okay. Hey, that flipped right back around. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. So this is Trader's Gonna Trade, right? In the video description below, you can go to our store and you can get this lovely Trader's Gonna Trade mug. Actually, you know what? We should look at that again. Well, we got like 3 minutes. We got like 3 minutes, but let's go look at it. Man, my lips are really hyper chapped today. I don't know what the deal is. We can do this for Steve too. Oh man, what kind of stuff do we need to get for Steve? Oh, we could just do anything, right? We can do all of the memes and all that stuff. Wait, what the hell? People can subscribe to your channel, or is that just showing me stats? It must just be showing me stats for the channel, like it tells me who subscribed. Yeah, maybe that's what that is. Okay, interesting. That's a new feature they've got. Okay, merchandise. So, we have a Trader Gonna Trade t-shirt and hoodie, mouse pad, a sticker, and a mug. Okay, now we can also do a huge mouse pad, a tank top, phone cases, or a minky blanket. You want a minky blanket? I don't know if Trader's Gonna Trade is appropriate for a minky blanket though. Come on, what we need a design for the blanket, man. I was hoping. I still want hats. That's what I really want, is a hat. I want a hat. You going long again? Well, that was a pretty good flip there, huh? Of course, Brandon tries to go short. That's hilarious. Okay. So I think I can make Brandon a lot better. I think for the near foreseeable future, I'm going to turn him off. Gabby did okay. Gabby hasn't been doing as well as she was, but... Well, that came up so hard now. I'd be really surprised if they didn't go to the high of the day. Even though the open was crazy bearish, right? So we'll see what happens here. I think that we'll get a clearer picture next week. You know, give people a weekend to digest, kind of let the end of month flow come through. And then once the end of month flow has come through, then we can kind of see where we're at. We might be able to better suss out what people are doing. But for me, I'm really happy. By the way, you see there was that one that I made money on that could have been really bad because it almost stopped me out. But these first ones were really good. I'd say overall I'm doing great. I have had some bad periods where I took 2 contracts on a trade and I shouldn't have, but like my probability has been high, so. All right, what should we call today's video? Mm-mm-mm. 25th today. It's so choppy. We're going to say we would talk about New York accents. Nah, we did that. We can put that in for another day. I don't know. This is a difficult market. I mean, it's just been big excursions on both sides. And for no discernible reason. Maybe there's some news that's been coming out and I've been missing it. Traders jolted by mini flash crash in Treasury futures. Oh, I missed that one. Oh, it's because it was in the ultras. Ultras were liquidated, taking out all bids and prompting more activity, which eventually led to around 20,000 contracts trading. Wow. The liquidation book was also the most activity in the contract since the month-end driven February 26th close, which also followed last month's catastrophic 7-year auction. Oh, and as a reminder, in less than 2 hours, the Treasury will sell another batch of 7-year paper. Let's put it that way. Market chop ahead of 7-year auction. Day trading futures live stream 25th. All right, save. All right, well, best of luck. Keep in mind, AC, keep that one on that at 11 o'clock our time. There is a 7-year auction, right? Big piece of news. If the 7-year auction goes poorly, the market could really freak out. And if it goes well, that it could just explode to the upside. So, you know, if you have something locked in and it keeps going up until then, and keep an eye on the Treasury. But if we see that the Treasury has recovered from here, let's say the 5-year is above 124, then it might be worth keeping it on. Not giving it advice, that's just the way that I would think of it. But make sure you remember that, because that's the one that people might not think about. We'll catch them off guard today, but the auction matters. Okay. Catch you guys tomorrow. Stay profitable.